Glasbrenner is at it again. The West Little Rock adventurer left this morning and is on his way to Alaska to try and scale the highest mountain in North America, Denali. If he succeeds, he'll be closer to reaching an even bigger goal, conquering the Explorer's Grand Slam. To give you a better idea of what that is, you really have to look at the big picture. It's one of the most coveted achievements on Earth. It involves traveling the globe and scaling the 7 highest mountains in each of the 7 continents. You must also reach both the North and South Pole. The journey is a huge undertaking, physically and mentally. One mistake could cost you your life. Only 49 people have actually done it. Glasbrenner hopes to become number 50. And when and if he does, he will become the first physically challenged athlete in the world to have done it. At 20,310 feet above sea level, Denali can get nasty real quick. Bone-chilling temperatures can reach 75 below, and blinding storms can roll in at any second. So reaching the summit is no easy task. 32,000 have tried, only half have made it. So how does one train for such a dangerous trek? If you're Jeff Glasbrenner, you do it in the backyard of your home in Little Rock on a warm, sunny day. And by going up and down Pinnacle Mountain, which is only 1,000 feet high.
Yeah, that's the problem. You try to mimic the best that you can, and this is the best that I have, and so I always try to make the best of your abilities.
That motto is ingrained in his heart and soul. When he was 8, he lost his leg in a farming accident. Doctors told him to stay away from sports, fearing he would injure himself or others. Glasbrenner ignored that advice. He went on to become a 3-time para-Olympian, a 25-time Ironman finisher, and most recently the first American amputee to summit Mount Everest. What goes through your mind when you look at that picture?
A lot of people, they just don't really set their goals big enough, and so when I look at that picture, I'm like, yeah, goals completed.
He's now focused on a much bigger goal, becoming the first ever physically challenged athlete to complete the Explorer's Grand Slam, a grueling and challenging adventure that involves scaling the 7 highest mountains on all 7 continents and reaching both the North and South Pole. He's already scaled 5 of the summits and made it to the South Pole. All he has to do now is get to the North Pole, climb Karsten's Pyramid in Papua New Guinea, and conquer Denali.
Getting to the summit is, it's a big goal of mine, but at the end of the day, the mountain's in control.
To prepare himself for Denali, he hikes up and down gravel roads wearing a backpack loaded with 52 pounds of weights and drags 2 20-pound tires, which mimic the sled he'll be pulling up the mountain, loaded with his equipment and supplies.
When we get to about 17,000 feet, or actually about 14,000 feet, we lose the sled, and from there, it's just the backpack, and then we're in our summit mode from that point forward.
It's also the time when he has to switch from his everyday prosthetic to his more advanced climbing leg.
This leg will get me hopefully to the summit.
It got you to the top of Everest.
Got me to the top of Everest, so why not get to the top of Denali?
But performing such a task in potentially dangerous temperatures is risky. It must be done in less than 2 minutes.
If it's anything longer than that, I can get frostbite on my stump or if my hands, if I have my gloves off.
And at that point, it's game over if you get frostbite?
Yeah, if I get frostbite on my stump, yeah, it's going to be a rescue situation.
But Glasbrenner doesn't think about the dangers he could face. Instead, he stays focused and controls what he can. And while reaching the summit of Denali is the goal, he's not afraid to call it off, especially if conditions take a turn for the worse.
For me, it's like the mountain's always going to be there. I want to be able to stand on that summit, but I also want to come home to my family and know that I can, live and survive another day.
Once Glasbrenner arrives in Anchorage, Alaska, he will board a ski plane, which will then take him to the base of Denali. After checking his gear, not once, but twice, and then meeting his teammates, his trek will begin. The total trip should take him roughly 3 weeks. That is, of course, if everything, including the weather, goes smoothly. We're going to be checking in with him via text and possibly via satellite phone as he makes the ascent. And, of course, we will let you know how it goes. But, of course, Donna, we are all rooting and cheering for him to not only make it to the summit, but all the way back home.
How does he compensate, though, for for doing all of this in warm weather, practicing and rehearsing and conditioning in warm weather, and knowing that when he gets to that summit or when he actually starts his journey in Alaska, it's going to be cold.
Yeah, that's a valid point. And he is the most mentally strong person I have ever met. Now, besides that, he's also done a lot of training in elements in other parts of the United States. He spent a lot of time in Colorado training for his trek to Mount Everest there, so he was in the elements there. And then some of the other summits that he has done have been in cold elements. But it's the mental fortitude that he has up there that, you know what, I'm prepared for anything and I can handle it.
And he's basically he was building the endurance so that he can get through it. Yeah. No matter what the temperature is.
Right, yeah, yeah.
My goodness, well, we do wish him the best.
We certainly do.
I can't wait to see how this all works out for him.
Yeah, me too.